Welcome to the heretics and blasphemers, to the seekers of the unseen. You who have stepped beyond the borders of the conventional, we welcome you into the shadowed corridors of the occult and the profane. This is Unsanctioned, where the forbidden becomes knowledge and the boundaries are meant to be broken.
I am La Hechicera Len, who stands at the crossroads where spirits dwell and whisper secrets. Here we explore the symbols, spells, and stories that society fears to acknowledge.
And I am Sebastian, the sorcerer of annihilation. I believe in tearing down the false walls of illusion and embracing chaos. Together, we're here to shatter taboos and illuminate what lurks in the dark corners of folklore and magic. Welcome back to Unsanctioned. In today's episode, we are actually meeting one of your hosts of this amazing podcast, Len, the Witch of the Crossroads. And we are going to hear a little bit about Len's own experiences, expertise on the Crossroads, and its significance in magic practice and various cultures. And we do have a bit of a interview segment as well. And not to forget this part, but we do have some questions from our listeners for Len as well. So welcome back. I'm Sebastian, the Sorcerer of Annihilation. You can find me on social media at Sebas_the_storm on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, where I offer services like divination, spellwork, and sorcery for hire. Or check out my tattoo page at sebas.tatt for occult and witchcraft-oriented tattoos and ritualized tattoos.
And I'm La Hechicera Len. You can find me online on Instagram and Threads at Hechicera_Len. Yeah.
Okay, so I think before we kind of dive into you, we should probably talk about Crossroads a bit and what that means. What is the importance of a crossroads? What are those cultural references and what that means in magic and practice for somebody who's maybe finding some new interest in the paths and deciding what it is that they can do at the crossroads. Maybe they have no idea. Maybe they hear this other buzzword that we always hear, crossroads, and they're like, okay, and what do I do? I think this would be a good time to dive into all of those wonderful, fun things.
So crossroads are significant in the practice because it's like, it's one of those places that is known for being liminal. Everyone's favorite buzzword, liminal. Things are constantly moving. There's lots of movement. Lots of things are passing through. Lots of energy. And I know that sounds like stupid, but it's like I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to verbalize it and I can't really.
No, yeah, it really is. Like, even if you're at the crossroads and you are like, there isn't any traffic there or like anything like that, there is still traffic just in the spirit world. Like, there is still a lot of things happening there. Not only that, but like, it is like a liminal place in which like all of those things are possible because of the crossroads. And like, different types of crossroads have different types of purposes, if you will, or like things that they're best suited for, which I think we can get into that like a little bit later. But like, historically, right, like we have to like step back and understand like, what is the crossroads, right? Like, this is a place of opportunities, of potential, right? You're at a place in which all things are possible, in which case that is like part of what makes it so liminal, is that like, okay, what direction are you going to go? You have these options, and at that exact moment you're standing in the middle of the crossroads, all of those options are viable. Even if you know where you're going, like, there's still that potential for like you to go any other direction, is something to definitely take into consideration. But also, we talk about like spirits associated with Crossroads and the archetype of those spirits. And there's typically like deals that are done, right? We talked about this last episode, and like deals are typically done here, exchanges are done, because Crossroads too are like trading post, if you will. And like I think too, people forget that Crossroads aren't just like the four-way intersection down the street. Like it can definitely be like any places in which heavy exchanges and traffic are occurring, in various ways.
There's always someone sitting and watching at a crossroads, and it's me. Boo, bitch. No, but yeah.
That shit that you see out of the corner of your eye at the crossroads, that's Len. Yeah, so like honestly, some of the questions will kind of go into a little more of like the crossroads and what that is, but like workings that can be done there. Like when we say like a lot can be done there, a lot can be done. You can do amarres, you can do road openers, you can do road closers, you can do summonings, you can do pacts, you can do banishings, you can do curses, you can do healing, you can do basically anything at a crossroads, depending on the crossroads you're at.
You really could, yeah. And like depending on which direction it's facing, or not it's facing, but where you're facing in the crossroads, that has an effect on what you're doing in there. So does what day of the week, what time, if the sun is out or not, where the sun is at. Yeah, it's like you were talking about last week, like all the conditions and
circumstances and conditions.
Yeah, circumstances and conditions. There's a lot of shit that goes into it. Like I recently learned that certain days are really in the Mexica calendar. There are certain days that are like really bad luck. Like you shouldn't be doing ceremony at all or any kind of ritual. And one of those was like just a couple days ago, I think. It was 7 crocodile is what it is. I don't know why. I don't remember why. But yeah.
Spotly said no.
Yeah, she said try again another day. There was something else I was going to say. Like with the crossroads, it's there's a lot of shit you can do. You can pretty much do anything.
Yeah, truly. I think it's one of those things where like you're only limited by your imagination as a practitioner, when it comes to pretty much everything. So you know, you can definitely use the crossroads for a number of things. Like for example, one of the ways, you know, we talk about tricking spirits is to like go to a crossroads, and if you need like something from a certain area, but you can't go there right that instant, you face that area and be like, oh, this, like take whatever it is that you need, right? Like let's just use dirt, and be like, oh, this dirt is actually dirt from the courthouse that is that direction. So now I can use this for court workings because it's that dirt. You know, you can use railroad spikes for various concepts at the crossroads as well. So using those for various types of work can definitely be utilized. If you're also like using them for certain types of work and you're purifying them or cleansing them, you know, performing that work at a crossroads is like another thing you can do, right? So like what I typically would do is like take Florida water, salt, and various herbs, and I would take that to the middle of a crossroads, draw certain symbols in the Florida water, put the nails on top, and light that shit on fire. And then once it's done and the nails have cooled off, then the nails are changed, basically because they're like baptized in fire, right? Yeah. Let's step back and touch base on some of the more abstract concept of the crossroads. But before we get into that, I did want to say,
Yeah.
like, before I forget again, thank you, ADHD. Crossroads for me, like in the spirit world, kind of look like if you've seen like Doctor Strange, and like the way they can like warp reality to be like, whoop. And like basically the crossroads I'm at can access any other crossroads in reality from where that crossroads is at, because it can like fold itself and fold reality. Like if we were talking more of like a physics based kind of thing, it like takes the two ends and like brings them together, and therefore I can do like certain things, and that's through time and space itself.
Yeah.
And so like, do I share that? Are you gonna pluck it out of my head again? Basically, when I'm doing certain types of work, I love using chalk or like drawing shit as an artist. Like I love using sigils and seals and whatnot. When I'm crafting my own, there are certain shapes that look like crosses, and those aren't actually crosses. Those are crossroads, that are representing like time and space being folded in those exact areas, geometrically. Which is like a thing, like listeners, you're gonna be like, that's like super like new agey, like what the fuck. But I swear it's not rose quartz and Starbucks, because if you look back, a lot of our ancestors would hide stuff like that in 2D art, right? That's where we get like yantras, from like Hindu practice as well. And so these concepts are like 3D, 4D concepts, like physics concepts, but are represented in 2D form. So for me, that's like the way the crossroads works as well, is like it's flat but not really.
Let's talk about the directions.
Right. Okay, bitches.
Yeah.
By the powers of the north, south, east, and west.
The craft. That scene was just so good. I loved it. Like, it's not, I know it's supposed to be serious, but it's so funny the way that they say some of the stuff. I don't know. Anyway.
No, yes, I love the craft. Oh, he's sorry. He's sorry. Anyway,
He's sorry.
starts levitating me. That's what people see when they piss me off in their room at 3 a.m. as their sleep paralysis demon. Also, I love the fact that like her like fake like votive candles are like she of lightning or whatever the fuck they call her by. Bitch, me too. I digress. Okay, so let's talk about like the 4 directions, north, south, east, and west. Their associations, which listeners, I'm already going to drop this right here, right now, will depend on like your tradition and practice, because like what north means for me may not mean the same for Len.
It probably does. If I'm thinking,
Probably does, but we're
it
gonna
probably
find out
does.
right now.
Okay, so I can go first then. So I associate the north with the wind, with pulling more from like well, because the air is above. So that just makes the most sense. Also, like, I know that some people associate it with seasons, and for me it's the winter. There is a animal familiar spirits that I associate it with, but I can't talk about it, though you could probably guess it's a bird. Like, I just won't say what it is.
I'm trying to think, what kind of workings do you associate with the north?
Of course, weather magic. Like, weather magic, cursing someone with the wind, so sending malaire. I'm trying to think what else. Spirit flight, duh. Like, that's so, yeah.
Go north, child.
Most of it's like communication based. that's where I go to find most of my information.
She goes north. Uh, yeah, so I think that's pretty close to mine. I find the north to be cold and dry. So like really, really cold, dry weather. I find weather spirits to bring said weather, like snowstorms, are also really good from the north. Um, what else? I think I also associate the north with winged beast, um, in various forms. Um, and then I think also for me, the north is like good for curse work, um, freezing somebody. Um, yeah, like if I want to like close a road, the north is a good direction for that.
Mm.
Because it is like the north, which is like direction. That's the way of orientating all things. So if I fuck that up for you, girl, you're not going nowhere. um, Girl, you don't know which way is up or down, left or right, because I took away your north.
Mhm.
I snatched that shit right up. Um,
The Mexica also viewed the north as being the realm of Mictlan, so where the underworld is. So it makes sense to, you want things to end, put that shit there or go that way.
where
Go
things
with
go
those
to die.
influences. It's where things go to die. Um, so just that little thing for our listeners before we go on. Do with that
Bury a
what you
bitch in
will.
the north. Um,
Anyway,
let's move on to the east. Also, not me facing north right now. But also, fun fact. Can I share that? I don't think it's that important. Weird little fact about me is I can always tell which direction is north, um, without like a compass. I can just feel what direction is north.
yeah, that's
With
interesting.
with you saying that they believe that's where Mictlan resides,
It makes sense.
it makes sense. But yeah, let's talk east.
She stands at the north. Fuck. She stands at the north like a fucking homing beacon.
The missile is EP. The missile knows where it is by subtracting itself from where it isn't. Uh, it's me. I am a missile. Anyway, the east.
So yeah, the east. I associate it with of the four elements, fire. East where the sun rises. Um, what kind of workings for to initiate things, to start things. Um, it's really interesting that in the folklore of initiation, you're usually at a river that runs east, so you're facing east anyway. Sometimes, depending on yeah. Anyway, so that makes sense. And starting things, initiating things, new beginnings, the spring. Um, I used to go back and forth on that a lot because I was like, well, fire, summer. But that has changed. So spring, um, things for growth, things for fertility, things for not really abundance, but more for like if things need a little more quick movement, I would say like immediate urgent movement, I would say east. That's as much as I can apparently tell. So go on. Do you have anything to share?
I think for me, the East is a interesting one. Like if I'm doing health work, I'd probably pull from the East, um, because like think of like raising, you're raising something, right? So it's like to raise health. I'm gonna raise it from the East, right? To bring it forth. Versus like because the sun also rises, right? So like with the rising of the sun, so too does my client's health. And that concept too of like the sun being a proponent of a great many things depending on what tradition you're from, can definitely impact why the East is what it is, just because no matter where you're at, the sun rises in the East and sets in the West. Granted, unless you're in like the North or South Pole. But I think too, I associate the East with, it's weird because I associate the East with more air. And even though I know this sounds contradictory, I associate the North with earth. So that's just how it works for me. And this is like when I tell y'all, like, it's going to be different, but also similar to like other practitioners. Because like, yes, we may associate, like, correlate certain things with like the North, or East or South or West. But at the same time, like, your experiences will also educate you. So your spirits might be like, hey, remember when we did this working? It's actually because we faced this direction. So actually, weather magic's actually good for the East for you specifically. And you can ask them why. They might tell you. They might just be like, it's too complicated to explain to you, and your little human brain. So just do weather magic from the East. And you're just going to have to be like, okay, and do that. But yeah, I do associate the East with air. But like, when I say it's different, listeners, like, as a person who practice more Middle Eastern magics and traditional brujeria and Taoist magic, like, there are definitely correlations across the board, but there are some really big differences too. And that's like not just with directions, but like with planets and other things as well. But with the East, I do associate it with like health. I associate it with intellectual things. I associate the East with communication, more so than like the North, just for me. Yeah. I think that's
all right.
We are so sorry, listeners. The spirits are putting a lot of redactions on this episode. This shit looks like that fucking file. Okay, let's go south.
South. So the South, I associate with the earth. Also the summer. I think of like the fields of abundance, for the growth of food, for money, for prosperity, abundance, things like that. Also for health. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
For me, the South is probably my favorite, because for me it is death. And it's also where I'm like most comfortable because that's where I lived for so long. And like, so when I associate the South through my experiences, it's scorching hot heat, blistering hot weather. It is the desert. It is, the ground is so hot that you can't walk barefoot. It is fire. In like my practice and traditions, it's fire. So all those things come into consideration. Animal wise, it is scorpion for me. And so El Alacrán has a lot of different things. It's more of like where I would do more curse work from, is the South. It is where I would burn my enemies to a crisp. It is where I would send them to the lake of fire, if you will. I would perform a lot of different types of work around that. And exorcistic work is also South oriented for me. If I want to like revitalize someone, I will use the South as well, to like a degree, just to like, especially if there's stagnation. The South is where I go to like get things moving, um, and the South is also like super ironically, considering that like it doesn't really have an association with the sun, like super solar.
Mm.
Like super like sovereign, super dominating, super those typical things for me. Like the South is like that like heavy presence in that regard. Um, yeah, I think that's all I can share about the South. So,
Interesting.
but moving on to the West, what do you associate the West with?
I associate the West with water, with I think of California, like specifically, like the Pacific Ocean is out there. Pacific Ocean is right there. She's right there. Yeah, water, the fall, autumn, um, healing, sort of, but more so like not healing, cleansing, limpia, baños, um, duh, literally water. Go on, go ahead. It'll come back.
I associate it also with California. Like if I associate like the direction with states a lot of the time,
Yeah.
that I've been to, and like I was born in California, so I am the one born in the West, and yeah, heavy association with water. Um, Again, my experiences inform my practice. And so for me, I associate like more so the spring with the West,
Hmm.
which is going to be really ironic because I also associate the West with death. Um,
I think you've said that for all of them at this point.
no, literally, I was like, girl, death is, she's just here. Okay. She said,
She's
I'm
just here.
everywhere. We just, oh my God. So the North is death. East is death. South is death.
And West is
Is
death.
death. But they're all like different deaths. But no, no, no. I do associate it with a different way of dying. Like I associate more so with like rest, like in that sense.
Hmm.
Because I do associate all directions with death, but like in different ways. Um, oh no, like not even joking. I think that's what happens as like set that West being so prominent and like all the death. Well, then again, almost all my deities are like death or war related. So it's either going to be violence or death or something associated.
Something in that nature.
So yes, but West I associate with water. Um, California, spring. The South is summer. The East is autumn, and the North is winter for me.
Hmm.
Um, and with that being said, the West is also like if things need to slow down a little, right? I'm gonna go to the West. Not necessarily to the point of stopping, because that's like where I would go to the North for, like to freeze something. But like if something's like overactive, I'm like I need you to tone it down. I'm gonna go to um, the West. Yeah.
That's interesting because I would, for that specific thing, like if something needs to slow down a bit or if something is going to be worked long term, I would go to the south. Um, because Earth, like I associate it with the Earth and more of like slower, stable movement. Um, so that's interesting. Uh,
Okay, so let's get to know your host a little bit more, listeners. It's time for our interview segment. So our first question is going to be this: your origin story, Lynn. Can you take us back to a moment or the moment that you realized you had a connection to the crossroads? Was there divining? Was there a defining event that marked the beginning of your journey as a witch or practitioner?
Well, from the moment I was born, I've been a chismosa. So, I say that as a joke, but like also I just like knowing things about people, so I've always been good at finding information. And so because of that, I kind of well, yeah, that's why I just like knowing things about people. I can find out anything.
Era una chismosa. Uh,
Exactly.
you were born and the stars spelled out chismosa in the night sky. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the star with Jesus pointing to where he
Yeah.
was born, except it said chismosa, like a billboard.
Very
um,
that. Very that.
yeah. And so, at what point is that like the point in which you kind of like realized that you had a connection to the crossroads? Was like being chismosa and like realizing that information travels through crossroads?
I mean, I didn't really realize the Crossroads connection until like within the last year, to be completely honest. Because a lot of my I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before. Like when I started out as a practitioner, that was 2020. Uh, Pandemic, everyone was kind of locked away. Everyone was going through everything that they went through, and I didn't I didn't really know yet, but the Crossroads and spirits that have been associated with the Crossroads is something that I've always kind of been, just because I'm nosy, I was interested in. And my first connection or introduction into that was through Santísima Muerte. And I feel like all Santa Muerte devotees just kind of have some kind of connection or association with the Crossroads, some of them more than others. That is not to throw shade. At any other practitioners, I cut the cameras.
I have a name.
Hold on.
Go. Hold my hoops. Right. Actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. I think we all have just like different aspects of her that we kind of like line up closer to. Like, I think I line up more towards like the scythe aspect versus like the crossroads aspect. So yeah, no, I think it's kind of just natural that like we all pull towards different associations and concepts of Santa Muerte. Yeah, so I think that kind of handles that. I think moving on to like the crossroads, they're clearly, as we're saying, like rich with meaning. They clearly have a lot going for them. Is there like, when we think about them, we think about like transitions, we think about choices, the liminal and mystery. And we kind of answered this already, but like, what did the crossroads represent to you personally, and how do they influence your practice?
Yeah, people have like this, I don't want to say negative connotation, but like there are associations with the Crossroads always being with like devilish figures, like a darker figure. That's not always the case. Like we mentioned earlier, you can do blessings, you can do healings, you can do all kinds of stuff with the Crossroads. It's exactly that. There's so much potential, and there's potential and power in just about anything that you do there, depending on who you call, what time of day you do it. I don't go to, like, I know that we talked about like there's all these kinds of different things, but the Crossroads specifically for me is like information gathering. Like we've talked about this before. It's like I have set up a not literally, of course, but like I have wiretapped the local Crossroads, okay? Like I need to know each and every little thing.
Girl, we all know that's literal. You have indeed wiretapped the crossroads. So listeners, any Crossroads work you do, Len knows about it. Len is the one actually tapped in, listening with her ear to the wall, ear to the floor, and hearing everything that you say at the Crossroads.
I'm a chismosa. I need to know everything.
Chismosa. So, moving on to the next one, I know we've kind of talked about this outside of the podcast, but when you go by the name Hechicera Len, what does that identity like mean to you?
So, the name itself is, ignoring the title Hechicera for a second, the name Len is associated with like an ancestor, just because she herself, it's no, I'm not going to say her name. It's short for another name. But she is the reason that I felt comfortable enough to experiment and explore folk Catholicism again, after fighting so hard to get out of it. Well, Catholicism in general, but like to explore outside of the dogma. 'Cause I remember being like 9 years old, visiting Mexico. She was my great grandmother, and she would consider herself a Catholic, but she was like, I would refer to her as Guadalupana. So she would go to church, but she had a giant shrine to La Virgen right next to her bed, actually. And every morning when she got up, she would light a candle and pray. And every night before she went to bed, she would be there praying a rosary. This woman was devout, but she had a lot of faith in La Virgen and in the saints, and that inspired me. So that is the kind of, yeah. And then Hechicera, we've talked about like different labels and stuff. Like yes, I am a witch. But I also don't, with the community that I engage with, I don't feel comfortable. Not that I don't feel comfortable, but I just think that for people to, because a lot of time, like, witches are frowned upon in Latino communities. Witches are frowned upon. You don't engage with them unless it's like you're desperate, like life or death kind of shit. Like when people go to Santa Muerte. So a lot of people will feel more comfortable going to someone that they think is or people that refer to themselves as like curanderos, curanderas. But I am not a curandera. I am not a healer. I can do things from curanderismo, but I'm not going to say that I'm a curandera because I don't like doing it. Not that I don't like doing it. I just actually stay sick. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck you up.
I'd rather hurt than harm. Or fuck, what? I'd rather hurt than heal. Not literally. Like if you need help, I'll help. But like, it's not my bag. It's not my thing. It's not for me as much as it is for others.
What's in your bag?
Say what you say. It can't hold much, but you know what it can hold? A break. Anyway, but yeah, like hechiceras are, like the term literally means sorcerer or sorceress, whatever. The gender terms are stupid. But it's about sorcery, and the difference between that and brujeria. This is a very rough generalization, so don't get mad at me, listeners. Hechiceria is more of engaging with the land to ensure your basic needs. A lot of it's like prosperity work, a little bit of slightly minor domination magic, more so for like love, to influence things, to bewitch, to glamorize, to things like that. And brujeria is more of like, well, in traditional Mexican brujeria, it's only ever to harm, and it's through the conjuration of spirits. So, yeah, and that's not something that I would do for other people. So that's why I use the title hechicera, because I like brujeria is for me specifically. I'm not doing that shit for you guys. Sorry. But yeah, did that answer the question?
It did. Moving on from that, this one probably may not get answered. We'll see, considering the way the spirits have been moving for the episode so far. Can you share a story of a particularly memorable or powerful work that you've performed at the Crossroads, and what was its intention, the outcome of that?
I can't share this one specifically because I did it on my own without because when I okay, I can't tell that part. But I did do a road opener for a friend, and it was the first time I'd ever done a road opener before. And it worked more like a blockbuster than it did a basic road opener. She was struggling to find work, but one thing that I didn't know that I found out through divination is that she was in a crappy relationship with this person who was not letting her work, actually. Wild shit. So when I did it, I remember specific phrasing, remove anything that is blocking her from doing what she wants to do. He got in a car wreck and they broke up.
I knew it was gonna be some shit like that. He did.
He did. He's not literally dead, but he's not there anymore. I don't actually know what happened to him.
Girl, he died. No, that's crazy. It is not uncommon. I think listeners remember that we all kind of start from somewhere, and the basic information that you find about Crossroads at the beginning is packs summoning the devil and road openers for Crossroads. So more than likely than not, that's something that will have happened to a lot of beginner practitioners or practitioners at the beginning of their practice when they first start working with Crossroads. But that's a good one. That's a good one.
I also remember the work itself was not done at a Crossroads, but I took it to a Crossroads after, and I remember reading in American Brujeria by J. Ellen Cross. There's a hex at the end that mentions when you're done with this, take this to a crossroad and leave this many pennies as an offering and don't look back. So I'm okay, well, it'll probably get rid of him and remove things, just end it quickly. And I didn't give specifics as to what I wanted them to do. I was just I'm leaving this here, here's your payment, bye now. Knowing what I know now, I would not do it like that. I would be very specific in what I wanted them to do.
Here's your payment. I don't care how, get it done.
That's literally what I did, and looking back, I'm holy shit. Anyway,
I think we all also have a story like that as practitioners, in which we were wait, oh fuck. It makes me wonder if the Crossroads you did it at tends to have a lot of car accidents. Moving on. So there's a lot of, I think you've already kind of answered this one, because it kind of comes back to being an hechicera. There's a lot of confusion around it, I think, around witches and hechiceras. So
mm-hmm.
Is there a common misconception about your practice that you'd like to clear up?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. I just know that a lot of people that are especially more Christian, more Catholic, Latinos that are Protestant Christians, which is disgusting to me. they view anything that is not like Christian as demonic anyway. So they view hechicería as the same way that they do brujeria. To them, it's all the same thing, and I want to see less of that. Like, no, hold on. I was going to say get rid of Protestant. Yes. Yes. I have issues with certain Catholics, but I also think that Catholicism outside of the dogma is not that bad. No, I don't think that. I do think that the mysticism in Catholicism is really interesting. It's honestly kind of beautiful. The Catholicism. It's the Christianity part that's like...
Right. No, I get what you're saying. I really do. As somebody who grew up with Catholic folk magic, and that's what I was exposed to growing up, whether they knew it or not, because they just thought that they were being Catholic, but it was actually Catholic folk magic. Yeah, no, there's like definitely some cool shit about it, but at the same time, like, it's still Catholicism, so no. But yeah, so definitely like those things should be cleared up. I think the detriment of like putting everything under one umbrella can definitely be problematic. Like, I genuinely don't think that everybody should just be called a witch.
I agree.
So that's something for us to talk about later. But coming back to the Crossroads concept, is there any lessons you've gained from working with the Crossroads that you believe everyone could benefit from, whether they practice magic or not?
Learn when to shut the fuck up. I think people need to learn when to stop speaking, because the more that I engage with Crossroads spirits, the more I find things out about people that I did not want to know about. The more that people are willing to, like, almost confessing things to me, it's like, girl, I did not need to know this shit about you. Love you, though. Yeah, I just learn things about people, and I'm like, you need to work on that yourself. I'm not helping you.
I will just say that your sigil does work like that, too. I had a coworker, I won't give too much information because it is, like, really private, basically out of the blue, essentially, in a pretty basic conversation of like, oh, how are you doing? Oh, how are you doing? Be like, oh, sometimes I have like a minor seizure and I wake up as a different person. And like being like, yeah, so like I think there's like I constantly have like two people in my head. And I was like, not that there's anything like, I've dated someone with
dissociative identity disorder.
Yes. I was like, oh, I'm not the person for you to talk to about that. I am not a licensed professional.
Like, do you know? Like, have you spoken to a professional about this? Like,
but yeah, your sigil definitely does make people kind of just spill information. Also, like, people at work just kind of giving me information that I, as a more basic employee, should not know, but like now I know upper management and ownership shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, time for me to look for another job. That's not good. Yeah. So I definitely agree. People need to learn when to shut up because, like, for example, if I were at a Crossroads and there's a plant growing there, that plant, and let's just say, that plant is chismosa, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to give that spirit some shit and be like, girl, spill, talk to me. And anything you've ever said at the Crossroads, anytime you've walked by and touched this plant at the Crossroads, girl, I know all the information. It's mine. Yeah, so definitely shut the fuck up, listeners. Know when to. and know when to not to shut the fuck up. There's a time and place for everything, and I think we just live in a world that's so used to being so external, like being so present and being like, listen to me, that we tend to overshare.
Information is currency. You need to be careful about what you're saying, what you're sharing, because it will be used against you. And also, if you are tight on resources, you can probably get away with sharing some shit at the Crossroads as payment.
Um, yes, heavy on that. Um, let's see. This one's a fun one. I think sometimes people think that we keep our practice and our like day to day separate. So how do you see your practice kind of fitting into your modern world? Do you blend your practices with your like contemporary life, or do you keep them separate?
This may be a little controversial, but if your tradition is not a day-to-day living tradition, then what are you doing? Like, why are you doing the things that you do? Um, yes, there are things that I do daily, but it's also not like super elaborate. Like, my practice is very folksy. It's very basic. It's very what I have on hand. Oftentimes, that's usually just prayer, engaging with spirits. But I don't do a lot of like, actually, yes, I do. Ribbon. I just use a lot of ribbon and thread. I always have something on me.
Me. um, no, literally. No, yeah, I think heavy on the if your tradition is not like a living tradition, then what are you doing? Is such a big thing, and I think that's something that we see a lot on social media. Like, there's this person on social media, I don't know their at off the top of my head, but they do these like elaborate full moon rituals and they make stupid money, which like, girl, get your bag. But like, I don't know, something in me is like,
What are you doing this for?
what are you doing? Because it's like a giant design on the floor with like crystals and like herbs, but like it'll just be like a giant pentacle and a candle. I don't know, it just gives rose quartz up my pussy. And I'm just like, girl, I know you don't do this shit daily, like what is your relationship? But I on that note, to like kind of contradict that, is like social media is curated, right? So like,
Yeah.
on my page, listeners, a lot of you might be like, oh, their practice looks like this. And I'm like, bitch, you're only seeing what I'm, first of all, my spirits are allowing me to show you. There's a lot that you are not seeing. And so you get an insight into what I do and what certain things look like, but you are not getting anywhere near the full picture. This is kind of where we come back to like, know when to shut the fuck up. And like, maybe I will share something, but it will be like, you will think, oh, he just recorded this and then posted it, but it's actually from like 5 years ago. Like, so I contradict myself a lot, but my big three is literally just contradictions. Coming back to you, have you ever had an encounter or sign at the Crossroads that confirmed you're on the right path, that you did a working that was successful besides the car accident? And what was that experience like?
I've gotten positive omens about different road openers before, because my go-to is always a road opener. I'm sure you know that by now. But my go-to is a road opener. I tend to get omens about it in dreams. So I'll see a sign of what the goal is or what the intention is for in the dream, either in a positive or negative sort of view that will tell me whether or not it worked in the way that I wanted. And just because I say positive does not mean it worked. The goal might have been negative. But yeah, nothing specific that I'm able to share about.
Can you just say like a generic yes or no you've ran into a spirit at the crossroads?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Um, I would encourage anyone, people, if you're the kind of bitch that likes to fuck around and find out, I would encourage you to read Mexican Sorcery by Laura Davila. There is a prayer at the end of the book on making a pact with a devil, El Charro Negro. Um, do that. See what he does.
Noted, noted, noted. Um, let's go into this one. This one's fun because I do like it for listeners. This one's for you, listeners. What advice, Len, would you give to someone who feels a calling to explore their own spiritual or magical path, but doesn't know where to start? Not even in the sense of like brujeria, hechiceras, or anything like that, but just in general.
I would encourage you to explore the culture and traditions of your ancestors and build from there. Um, that's what I did. Because all that I knew about my family was that within the past at least 3 generations, they were all Catholic. So they kind of pushed me towards folk Catholicism. I know that that's not for everyone, and that's okay. You just have to figure out what those traditions were, learn about them. Um, and once you have a true understanding of the tradition, you are able to build off of it. Um, I say make sure you have an understanding of it so that you don't appropriate and bastardize it. I'm not going into much detail. I'm sorry.
No, heavy on that. I was just thinking really hard about what you were saying. Like, same. And I think, as a practitioner, we do have these lineages that somebody at some point practiced, right? In our ancestry. And I think, too, like, if you get drawn to a certain practice or tradition and you get initiated into it, you do end up in a lineage and gain more ancestors from the lineage. I think, what advice would I give somebody? Girl, sign up for my course. But honestly, it's what I would say is get started. Like, you have to fuck around and find out. I think it's easier nowadays to like fuck around and find out and not find out in a bad way. Because so many of us are like, look, we did the hard work of like fucking around and finding out and fucking up. Here's all these books and resources and classes on what you can do now. And that's like not just like my stuff, but like a lot of us in the community share a lot of like educational resources. But at the same time, it's an oversaturation. So there is like a lot of bullshit. So you still have to filter through a lot of that. But one of the ways of filtering is literally fucking around and finding out. Like, you have to fuck around and find out and see how things work or not. But definitely, I think, ancestors can definitely lead us to different paths and draw us in different ways, right? Like, I realized after finding out more about my ancestry that it makes sense that I was drawn to more Middle Eastern magic because I have ancestors in Iran and Egypt. And I also have ancestors in like West Congo. And I won't share what kind of work that they call me towards, but and then finding out that my ancestors actually, because of the neighborhoods they were in, had like a heavy Asian population, which is probably where I get like a lot of my Taoist traditional Chinese medicine influence and stuff like that. Also growing up in martial arts, you get initiated when you're in martial arts, and that means I was initiated and gained the ancestors of the martial artists before me, which means that I also gained the Taoist practitioners who were in those practices as well. So not just through that, but then through like actually self-initiation of like Taoist magic, you get like all that as well. So I think you definitely kind of hit it on the nose of like simple, straightforward, like fuck around and find out, talk with your ancestors, see what they did, whether that's like recent ancestry or further back ancestry. Do that.
Exactly. I do also want to say that I did say ancestors. It doesn't have to be your blood ancestors. If there's something else that you are interested in, then explore it. Just do so respectfully. There was one other thing I'm trying to remember. It was, if you are just kind of interested in learning witchcraft or some kind of magic that is not specific to a culture, Roger J. Horn's book is a very good introduction into doing that research yourself. He kind of tells you what to look for and what things to in your research. So it is really helpful for people that don't know where to start.
This is like an obvious one, but I think it's a fun one. Do you believe there's a hidden world that exists parallel, perpendicular, whatever, doesn't matter, direction to ours that's accessible through certain places like Crossroads? And if so, what's your view on how we can connect with it?
Yes, of course. I do believe in the concept of the otherworld. Spirit flight. I know that that's like such a basic answer, but it's also like not easy. It's very not easy. The only times that I have intentionally done it successfully didn't happen in the moment that I wanted it to. It was accidental, like afterwards. Like you have to kind of put yourself in a state to leave your body. And every time that I've done it, I've fallen asleep. And I will, in my sleep, leave my body. It's not like... I haven't done it awake successfully yet. But it's... like, yes, you can find online and in books, different resources will say different things on what will help. A lot of like witch ointments, flying ointments, things like that. It's usually things that will... the goal is to loosen your spirit, not to... because a lot of times people will be like, take this or drink this, and it's like some kind of drug. Which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If you know me, then you know me. But it's just, the goal is not to poison yourself or to get fucked up. The goal is to loosen your spirit.
Unless you're on the poison path, then poison yourself, but not really. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I think... listeners too, like, I think spirit flight is dangerous. Every time you leave your body in spirit flight, there's a chance you won't come back. So just keep that in mind. Anyway.
Well, if I die, I die.
Right. You know, both of us here do not have a problem when it comes to that. This one's like more about the podcast. Or sorry, not the podcast. It's kind of tying into the name. Our podcast is called Unsanctioned. So what does it mean for you to operate outside the conventional or sanctioned boundaries, especially as a practitioner?
This goes into how we talked about, or in our episode on initiations last week, we talked about existing as liminal beings. as queer people, we exist in the liminal. So it's like, when you say what does it mean to operate outside of that as a witch, like it's an everyday thing. Like you are constantly, like, I don't know, we are unconventional being queer people. We are unsanctioned. They don't want us here. Our existence is a big fuck you to them. And I don't know where I was going with that. I just know that it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of funny because it's, it's every day. um,
Snatch that thought right out of your head.
yeah.
Moving on, I think
What for?
considering the way your spirits are, both our spirits keep pulling like information that we're trying to share, I'm gonna skip some of the questions, but let's move into this one. If listeners wanted to connect with you or the energy of the crossroads or incorporate some of that magic into their lives, what simple practices or thoughts or meditations would you suggest?
Go to a crossroads and just talk to the spirit there. Like, engage with them. See what they tell you. If you want to try to chat with me there, you can. Um, I think that'd be fun, actually. Tell me things. Tell me your secrets. You don't have to. I'll know anyway.
No, I think listeners like heavily go to a crossroads, try to call forth Len, the aspect of the Witch of the Crossroads, the information gatherer, and see what you get, and then let us know. We would love to hear from you and see what kind of experience you have. Um, I think this one is a last one, and it's kind of fun. Is there a question about your life or practice that you wish more people would ask? Something that remains a mystery even to those closest to you?
I know that we talk a lot about sorcery and witchcraft here, but I mean, like, I don't really talk about brujeria that much. And I kind of want to, but also I'm like, well, I can't share most of that shit. Um, like, I want to talk about it. Like, people closest to me don't know about all the things that I want to talk about the devil more. I want people to talk to me about the devil. I want to talk about El Angelito Negro, and how he's different from El Chamuco, and how he's different from Justo Juez and El Charo Negro, but they're all the same being. Like, yes, I want to talk about that shit. I want to talk about the devil.
Right. Ask me about the devil. So, listeners, start asking Len more questions about the devil. When you see her, yell, point and yell witch, and then be like, how's the devil? Um, yeah, so I think that is our episode, unless there's something else you want to talk about when it comes to the crossroads.
Nothing in particular. I just apologize. This was kind of a mess for us.
I know we kind of came into this a little more prepared, and then like as we're talking, thoughts snatched right out. The spirit said, "Nope, don't share that. Nope, close your mouth. Nope, can't share that." I will say this, listeners: your spirits will tell you different types of crossroads to gather materia or to go to and work in various ways. Like a specific spirit of mine will usually use the crossroads of rivers and the places in which they either fork or break apart, or like if a river runs under a bridge, runs parallel to a road, runs blah blah blah, runs whatever. That's usually where you'll find me. Like my crossroads aspect will be like at the river crossroads, essentially. So I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what my crossroads aspect is really for. Fuck around and find out. Y'all let me know. I give you permission for that. Go to Len to open the road. Go to me to close them.
Yeah.
No, I love a good railroad spike. Listen, I have a crow brain. Okay, I'm a raccoon. Me love shiny object. Me love weird object found on floor. Me love railroad spike.
My trinkets.
My trinkets.
For my trinkets.
But yeah, I think honestly, listeners, the crossroads is just so full of potential that it is a place of pregnancy, if you will. Like it is so liminal. It is so full of these different things, and like we talked about, right, like these different types of crossroads have different uses, the directions, the material, what plants grow there, what dirt's there, what water is there, are all things to take into account and take into consideration. But I think with the crossroads, it is one of those things that you do have to kind of fuck around and find out and see what your spirits are like wanting to share in that regard. Oh, and I think, as you can tell, listeners, our spirits said, don't share nothing. They said that's all classified. So again, we did not expect that episode to go that way, but we did get to learn a lot about Len, which wonderful, fantastic. We love to have Len here. And yeah, I think that will be the end of our episode. Oh my God. No, it's not. We have questions from listeners. Okay, stepping back, for those of you who stayed around, you guys get the special treat. The other ones probably left already. Fake ass bitches. So we do have some questions from some listeners. Typically, I mean, we kind of answered this one. This one is related to the episode. What is your favorite Crossroads working?
A road opener.
Right, we addressed that. The next ones are Santa Muerte related, and this is going to get a little funky. First one is, does Santa Muerte have any epithets or versions or incarnations, any way you want to refer to it, that are different than the one that we all know that specifically the cartel work with, is the way that I understood the question.
Okay. I said this earlier. Hey, I said this earlier, and I'll say this again. Are you a cop? Who's asking? There is a PR answer, and there is the correct answer, which is they are one and the same. Death is death. The approach, the way that she engages with you may be different, but it's still her. I will leave it at that.
Yeah. Since that question was addressed to you, we'll move on. I'm not going to say anything. I don't think I can. Let's just say that there definitely were rumors about me in the old city that I lived in just because I was a Santa Muerte devotee, and we'll leave it at that. Speaking of Santa Muerte still, is she strict or cruel? Are pacts with her for life? And are there repercussions for trying to get rid of her influence?
Is she strict? Yes. Is she cruel? I don't think so. But it also really depends on like your view of death. It like just because you have a rough relationship with death doesn't mean that I'm going to have that same relationship with death. What was the last part of that?
Are pacts with her for life?
It depends on what you mean. Like devotion to her, yes. But I've also heard of people not being devoted for life. I don't know anyone personally that has done this, but I knew of someone who Santa Muerte like stepped away from them. Like it wasn't their decision, but Santa Muerte kind of stepped away. She was no longer present. But I also think that, I mean, why would you want to remove her influence? It really depends on the situation. Like for what reason, for why? Because I'm a devotee, I'm like, why even bother? Like she's there. She's kind of omnipresent. Yeah.
Have to agree. I think pacts maybe isn't the right word because like a pact can be short-term or long-term, but like with Santa Muerte, like death is eternal. Like it's not going to be quick, like something that's short, you know, like it does have a longevity to it, even though she is death, right? You would think like, well, it'll end because it's death, but death is always. So I think too, like you said, like it depends on your relationship to death. Because I don't see what she does as cruel, but I think at the beginning you're gonna go through a lot of fucked up shit of like working with her, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is so cruel of you. Why? I love you. And she's like, I love you too. Who the fuck said I didn't? And then shove your head back in the water.
It's for your own good.
The last part, yeah, like trying to get rid of her influence. Are there repercussions? I think it depends on how you go about it. Like, bitch, if you are rude, I'm gonna be rude back.
Have you seen those videos of like born again Christians that used to be Santa Muerte devotees throwing their statues away, and how violently they are? You've never seen? Oh,
I have
girl.
not. I think I would be.
I'll have to send it to you.
They're dead now.
I mean, I haven't heard anything from them, so.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah, I think it just depends, because for some of us, the relationship with Santa Muerte is temporary. It's not always going to be devotional. She comes in, shit happens, and then she goes. Or you might devote yourself to her, and then she's like, I'm done, I'm going, thanks. And it's not personal. But in regards to repercussions, again, like, yeah, if you're like taking a hammer to the statue and being like, fuck you, get out of my life, good luck. I won't even pray for you, because nothing's going to help you. But if you come to her gently, she may be like, okay, I'll go. Or she's going to be like, no, and it's for your own good. I'm not going anywhere. Which can definitely be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, I know somebody who's a very talented practitioner and is a devotee of Persephone and Hades, and had a similar experience when Santa Muerte showed up, because she is Latina. And she came to me. She was like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, what do you want to do? And then she was like, I don't know. I think I don't want to do this. And then Santa Muerte was like, that's too damn bad. And yeah, so there's that. But now I think we have an episode, and I think we can call that, oh my God. Thank you, listeners, for listening to this episode of Unsanctioned. On the next episode, we will actually be flipping the table around, and you'll get to learn a little bit about moi, me, myself, and I, the crazy fire sign of your co-host. Yeah. We'll talk about the magic of sorcery, what sorcery means to me, and the magic of annihilation. So you already know some crazy shit's about to drop. Don't forget to stick around and dive into Unedited, our post show on Patreon. Don't forget to join us over at Patreon at patreon.com/unsanctioned. UNS are capitalized, where we have 3 tiers for you to embark upon: the heretic, the malefactor, and the blasphemer. So again, you get a lot of different things at each tier. I recommend go checking them out. They start at $3 a month and go all the way up to $13 a month. The lucky number for the blasphemers. Yeah, so don't forget to check that out and join us on the next episode, which is a little bit of a surprise as well, listeners.
At this time, we would like to thank our Patreon supporters by name. Thank you, Pablo Rodriguez, for your support. It keeps us going. And we want to hear from you. Share your stories, encounters with spirits, or your own forbidden rituals. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Unsanctioned Podcast, or email us directly at podcastunsanctioned@gmail.com.
Remember, what's considered taboo is often where strength and power lies. Stay unbound. Stay unsanctioned.
Until next time, walk boldly into the shadows.
And let the forbidden be your guide.